Yes, you can.
Hey everyone, this is Daphne. If you were in my studio right now, you'd be walking in and I'd be saying, "Hi, welcome to the best place in all of Venezuela, all of Alberta, all of the world." And then when I introduced myself, I would say, "Hi, my name is Daphne. I'm a South African, and no, I'm not a doctor." And for the Susie laughed. Tell me why you laughed, Sue.
Um, we have so many South African doctors in the different communities that I've lived in that is normally the profession of the South Africans that I run into.
Exactly. So that's why that joke is always at the beginning of my workshop. And those have come to my classes a lot, all just giggle along with. But it's so true. My doctor is South African. The other thing is you if when you walked in, I'd give you the recipe because it's a DIY class. I am teaching how to make tallow, sorry, where to buy tallow, how to render it. But we do get to make beef. We get to make the whipped body butter at the end. So I'll share that recipe with you. Obviously, you're not going to get to experience that. This is awesome. But I would be giving you all the beef tallow card, and at the back is the recipe, and at the back is my QR code for those who want to scan the QR code to get the oils in their lives. Because it is a workshop for my customers who already have doTERRA essential oils. Um, and that's what all of you are really. But then there are those who are not exposed to oils at all, have never, don't know. They buy their oils from a company called Sage. Dollarama sells essential oils. Canadian Tire sells essential oils. So really, I'm teaching a class about the quality of doTERRA, and they can scan the QR code at the end. All right. Typically, to come to my beef tallow class is a $35 class. And because I'm using oils like frankincense and blue tansy, two really pricey oils, okay? And I know that I'm giving a really good experience and I love teaching this class. So the other thing that I give is the Modern Essential card to everybody, the A to Z guide. And every person who is in my studio gets one of the big Modern Essential books in front of them so that we can look up health concerns. Okay. Are you all familiar with the Modern Essential book? I call
Mm.
it my Essential Oil
Yes.
Bible. I've just bought a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's how the class, and my classes are full. I'm going to keep looking that no one's coming into my studio, but I have my front door locked. So let's get going. I'm going to be sharing a screen because I work with a PowerPoint. In my studio, I have a TV. Just for those who want to know how I do it, I have a TV up there and I'm projecting my PowerPoint. And so I'm going to share the PowerPoint and teach from there. And I hope you find that beneficial. If any of you want my PowerPoint, where is it all gone? You're welcome to have it. Here we are. Obviously, you need to change it. I've used a lot of ChatGPT to make my PowerPoint because it's just so much easier. So, hi everyone, welcome. I'm Daphne. I'm South African and no, I'm not a doctor. And today you're in a beef tallow class where I'm going to teach you how to take tallow from a cow. Obviously, I got this at a butcher here in Alberta. For those who don't know, Alberta is beef country. Like the most Texans outside of Texas live here because of oil industry and because of, farming. But this is a huge chunk of the fat or the tallow from a cow. So version number one. Version number two is this, also from the same um, butcher. Like I've got two places that I go local, and this one has already been processed. It's the fat that has been ground, it has been cleaned, and you purchase it like this. Okay. This big chunk here, no cleaning, blood, connective tissue, some ugliness. You've got to bring it home, wash it, clean it, remove the connective tissue. You've then got to grind it. So I'm just showing you the two methods that we start with. Okay. Now, in this workshop, I'm going to answer all of your questions. I'm going to answer what tallow is, why we use it, how we make products from tallow, where does the tallow come from on the cow, where do we buy all the extra ingredients to make the tallow balm that I make or the body butter. I'm also going to be looking at, how long does this last? How much does it make? So keep your questions to the end, but I hopefully would have covered everything. Okay. So those of you who've known me for a really long time, you know that I love DIY. I love making my own things. So we are taking, what is beef tallow? Tallow is the fat that's found on a cow. It's the name of the fat, and it doesn't only have to be these big chunks here. When you make a beef stew and you then put it in the fridge for the night, you have the beef fat on the top. We throw that away. That is tallow. If only we know, but it hasn't been rendered. So there's a word you're going to hear a lot, rendering. All right, I'm going to teach you what rendering is. But we're taking the fat of a cow, we're going to render it, and we're going to end up with this beautiful golden liquid that then actually goes hard. Okay. And then because I love doTERRA and I've been with doTERRA for like 14 years now. I love the quality of their oils. We add the essential oils to enhance the process. So I am going to stop sharing my screen because I want to know why you are here today. I know some of you just wanted to see me.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. No. Can you tell me, Haylet, why were you interested in learning about tallow?
Okay, Daphne. So I have been using tallow that I'm buying from someone here in South Africa for quite a while. I'm satisfied with their quality. It's not that I'm not satisfied with it, but I used their tallow a few times to try to make whipped, like a body or a face cream. And that was one thing I wasn't quite happy with the consistency, after doing that. And then their prices just became sky high suddenly over a few months. So it's not at all, I think available, or people won't buy it, at that price. So I think they've priced themselves out of the market now. Yeah, and I'm just very interested. I haven't used anything apart from tallow in my cooking for about 3 years now. Nothing,
Excellent.
nothing else. Yeah.
Okay, good. Great. Okay, great,
Yes.
great answer. Okay, Corin, what do you know about tallow and why are you here?
I only know what I've kind of read, that what you've posted and what Haylet advertised on WhatsApp quite some time ago. Um, didn't you, Haylet? And you
Yes.
gave a link where we could buy it or we could
Yes.
order it through you. So
Yeah.
I was intrigued then, and then when you started this, Daphne, I thought, no, I want to learn a bit more about this because yeah, I'm interested.
Okay.
Hmm.
And then I'll ask Sue. I mean, Sue, how come you're here?
Because I want to learn. I can't
Yeah.
learn enough about how I can use my oils. I need great skin care. I'm turning 62, and I want to keep my skin as healthy as I can. And I already make one set of oils for my face, skincare, and I want to be able to do something else.
Haha. So I was waiting for one of you. I was hoping one of you would say, I want to make my own skincare. Okay. And I know that, Carol, what do you want to say, Carol?
Yeah, that's the reason I want to try making my own because the skincare I've been using has been good for my skin, but it's just getting so expensive now. And I get a friend of mine makes her own tallow, and she gets orders once a month, and I get some of my meat through her. And I said to her, asked her how much tallow she gets from rendering. So I'm going to try. I'm getting some on Friday, so I'm going to try.
It's easy. It's so easy to make. I remember the first time I made it, I was like, oh, this process is going to be so hard. The rendering's going to be like hours and hours. And it is, guys, it does take time. But it actually is quite easy. So that's what I want to take away. They're like, this is a big process. You can definitely make it cheaper than what people are selling it for. Here in Canada, there is something called the F bomb because it's got frankincense in it. But it's a tallow, and Darren bought that tallow first. So he brought it home, and that was when I went like, first of all, go like, why is Darren not using doTERRA products? Why is he not using the frankincense stick on his face? Because it's a stick. But anyway, tallow's become a huge thing here. And this container is a 4-ounce container. Most of the tallow we're buying is like, it's probably a 1 ounce for 35 Canadian dollars. Okay. So really, I think people are just charging for the fact that it's a popular thing. Because I don't even know the quality of the frankincense that is in that F-bomb that we're buying. Whereas with doTERRA, I know for sure. I mean, and I've chosen to put blue tansy in mine so that my it's got a slight green look to it. Okay. It's whipped feeling for sure. You know, the fun part that you're not going to experience is that in the workshop, when we whip it all together and make the products at the end, we are taking the sides of the container, we're taking the beaters, and we are like, you know, we go home lathered in tallow. So just to know what you're going to miss out. Okay. Annie, did you want to add anything?
Sure. Like what Carol was just saying, like I love skincare. I'm actually, confession here, I'm actually a beauty consultant with Mary Kay,
We still
but
love you. That's okay.
you look at the whole, like 4 bottles of, the daytime night cleanser and all. We're talking almost $200. I'm a self-employed businesswoman. I take my money seriously. And, like tallow, I have been buying little jars, $15. I honestly prefer the benefits of tallow than my expensive Mary Kay night recovery cream. So I still love and enjoy my Mary Kay, but I'm being selective. At night, I really like the feeling of tallow on my face, and I want to learn to make my own. I've been intimidated by making my own, so thank you, Daphne, for
Easy.
putting this workshop together.
All
And you
right.
look beautiful and young, so I want to look like you when I'm
Oh,
60
thank you.
plus here.
All right. And then Megumi, I don't know. She has got a beautiful skin already. She was probably bathed in tallow. So Megumi is one of my doTERRA sharers here in Calgary. And Louise, if you want to say anything, just, I can't see the two of you, but know that you're welcome to, put up your hand and say something. Let's go back to our slide. Okay. Showing my slide. Really, one of the main reasons, besides cost, is that we know our products out there, now not doTERRA, okay? But there are products out there that are full of phthalates and parabens. I am actually so surprised at my workshops. My last beef tallow workshop, I had a few people there, but one particular girl who is not concerned about what product she puts on her face at all. Not concerned about her deodorant, what she washes her hair with. Like to me, those are maybe just because I have such an awareness of now. I'm like, I have the app. I am scanning my products to make sure that they don't have these, phthalates. They hormone disruptors. They can be linked to breast cancers. They cause skin irritations. When we shower in the morning, that's when our pores are so wide open. And the heat is there, and now we're putting on all these products, shampoo and conditioner, we're washing our face, really to be aware of what is being absorbed into our skin. So, there are products out there, and besides the cost, are they actually healthy for us? So, that is one of the reasons I've looked at incorporating tallow. Now let's get the slide to move. How come you're not moving? Just when you need it to move. Let's get it moved. There we are. Okay, so yeah, what is beef tallow and why beef tallow? So if anyone asks you, why do you make beef tallow? What are what's in it that makes it so beneficial? You're going to be looking at really, it's the fat of a cow that is so similar to the fat, our own skin, that it gets absorbed really easily, but it's high in your your fat soluble vitamins, your vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K. I don't know how to say vitamins or vitamins anymore. but it's high in A, D, E, and K, but it's also got oleic acid, palmitic acid, stearic acid, and conjugated linoleic acid. Those A, D, E, and K are all so good for your skin. Vitamin A supports skin repair and renewal. Vitamin D helps support skin health. Vitamin E, we know it's like for scarring. It's a powerful antioxidant. And then vitamin K, again, skin. And then your fatty acids, it just protects your skin. It's a skin barrier, deeply nourishing. So the fat of a cow, instead of throwing it away, can be used for your skin, but like Haley said, could also be used for cooking. It has, like once you've rendered it, and remember, I'm going to get to that process, but once you've rendered it and it's clean of all impurities, you can fry in it because the temperature it goes up to is 400 degrees Fahrenheit. It is better to use tallow than to fry with olive oil. All right. So once you've rendered and you've actually got tallow, just keep it in your fridge and use it to cook with. Yes, it's a saturated fat, but we're no longer scared of saturated fats. All right. Obviously, everything in moderation. So deeply moisturizing and natural. So now, how do we actually, why is the screen not moving? There we are. So some of the other ingredients that we're going to add to our tallow when we're making the whipped body butter, I've chosen to use jojoba oil. It's really moisturizing. It's rich in vitamin E and B. It's just a good skin oil. It actually also makes your tallow, whipped tallow, just a lot creamier or a lot smoother. Okay. We add arrowroot powder as a thickener. It's just a starch. And then I've chosen to put cacao butter or cocoa butter in as well into my recipe. Okay. And again, a butter from the cocoa bean is really good for your skin, rich in fatty acids. Now, they are expensive ingredients. Jojoba oil, expensive. Here, definitely. I'm sure in South Africa is the same. Cocoa butter, not cheap. If you're wanting to make tallow for your face that or your body, that is a lot cheaper. You could switch ingredients out. You could use olive oil. I've never tried it. Definitely cheaper. I mean, olive oil, if it's a good quality olive oil, is still expensive, but you could switch things out. Okay. But these are the ingredients that I've chosen to use. And then where do we buy them? Actually, did I skip a slide? I feel like I have. Yeah, here we are. Where do we buy these? Well, I do a lot of shopping online. So because I make a lot of my own products in Calgary, there's Soap and More. There's New Directions Aromatics, which is in Toronto. Windy Point, that's in Calgary. And then the arrowroot starch, I mean, you can really buy it at Walmart. You can buy online. I have bought jojoba oil on Amazon, but 125 mils, so half a cup was like $13 just for that. And the recipe needs half a cup. So that you can buy on Amazon. The recipe needs a half a cup, but it makes between 5 and 6 of these. So between 5 and 6 4-ounce jars. And then where do I get my jars? I mean, they're online. Okay, I buy them in bulk online. They're glass. I like the dark. I always like the dark. You could do clear ones, but any of the products that I make, I like to have the dark if they've got the essential oils in them. And then I make my own labels. All right, on Avery, I go make cute labels. So in South Africa, I am not sure where you'd buy these products. Anyone, Carol, where would you suggest? So,
The cocoa butter and arrowroot I get from a local shop called Bacon Nut. I don't know about the jojoba oil. I'd have to investigate that or use olive oil or avocado oil. I think I'd probably use avocado oil.
yeah, go ahead and look to, see what's available. I buy my jojoba oil, sorry, my jojoba oil in like a 4-liter container. It's huge. But because I'm teaching a lot of workshops, because we don't only just use it in the tallow, okay? So You just have to look around. You only need 1 teaspoon of arrowroot powder. So if you live in a, close area with a few people, you could just be sharing it. Here it's $20 or $19 for a big packet, and it's going to last a long time. But I'm using it in workshops. Now I felt like yes. How do we know what's in our products? Well, here in Canada, and I'm sure South Africa can access this, I use an app called the Yuka app, and I scan my products. So I know, I mean, for sure, everything that we're using in the Tallow is good ingredients. But if for those of you who, if you've now decided, hey, well, actually, I have an awareness now that I should be looking at what is inside these products, you could use the Yuka app. Okay, now there are other apps to use, but this is the one that I use. I scan my products. It scans beauty products as well as scans food. And then it'll tell you how bad or how good it is or what the ingredients are in there. So that is the reason we're making the whipped tallow. It's why we use doTERRA essential oils because we know of the quality of the oils. Okay. So done that, done
Daphne,
that. Yes.
Daphne, sorry, can I interrupt? I've just done a quick Google search. Jojoba oil can be gotten bought from Clicks, Take a Lot, Faithful to Nature, um, Dischem. So there are quite a few options.
Okay. And remember, when you look at those options, I don't know if you can all recall, when I first started with essential oils, it was from oregano from a health food store. That was 14, 15 years ago. And the word that was on there was organic. The word that was on there was natural and pure. It was maybe one ingredient in there was organic, and maybe one ingredient was pure. The labeling can be so deceptive. So, I don't even go by the word organic anymore. We know that doTERRA has got CPTG, certified pure tested grade, but the other oils, look at the jojoba oil, like look, where is it sourced? What does it, what's the quality? Here, when I teach the castor oil class, like I am blown away by the varieties of castor oil that you get here. Like you can't go to Dischem. Here it would be the pharmacy for us and just buy the castor oil off the shelf. It's in plastic. It's not hexane free. It's not in a glass bottle. It's got no grading to it. So what am I saying is just when you're buying all those extra ingredients, don't always be looking for like I need the cheapest thing. Look at still where is it sourced, what the quality is. Okay. And maybe you want to come and do a castor oil class with me online. So before we go any further, I just want to make sure that you all are aware that there is a difference between doTERRA and essential oils from Sage or essential oils from Canadian Tire or Dollar Store. There is a huge difference. Carol, I remember having a conversation with you years back about the frankincense that was 120 Rand at the One Health store that you were at.
Yeah.
And it just, I mean, I know prices would have changed now, but really, I went 120 Rand for frankincense? There is no ways that is pure frankincense. Absolutely not. When doTERRA's frankincense is 105 Canadian dollars, so, I don't know what that isn't rands anymore. But the difference in the purity and the sourcing. So I was getting my oils from a health food store. That first oregano came from a health food store. It worked. I was told to put it under my tongue. I thought it was a little crazy. I went like, I mean, why have I never heard of essential oils? What are these goofy things anyway? But then I was with a company called Young Living for a while. And I was so grateful for my Young Living friend because she taught me so much about health, not just about essential oils, but if I had a problem, there was an oil for everything. She really was a crazy oil lady, just like I am now. Okay. But if I said, oh, my dog's not doing well, she'd go, oh, I have an oil. But I learned a lot from her, also about being gluten-free and dairy-free and refined sugar-free. I was really grateful for her. But then doTERRA came into my life in 2013. And then it was just like the heart for the farmers because doTERRA don't own the farms. Um, just where they source their oils is the best place. Like in France, we're going to use lavender in the beef tallow that we're going to make. The lavender comes from France. There, the soil is good, the climate is good. So, you know, doTERRA won't buy from that farmer unless it passes the CPTG, yeah, up here, certified pure tested grade quality. Don't put the word organic. I mean, doTERRA is more than organic. At a workshop, if you were in person here, I'd say, hey, do you think organic's an important, well, do you think organic's important, everyone? Do you think that's a label we should be looking for? I mean, we think it is, but you know that in Haiti, I mean, I think even in South Africa, we know about corruption. How can we trust a farmer in some of those countries where they say my farm is organic? Because they might even have a driver's license that they can't even drive because somehow they've bribed someone. You know what I'm saying is like, so take Haiti where they get vetiver, which is really good for calming down the brain. Those farmers cannot afford an organic stamp. So they can't put the word organic on anything. Instead, doTERRA has come in and said, we want to work with you as a farmer as long as you don't add pesticides, you're letting that plant grow to the best quality, best state before you harvest it. And it needs to pass CPTG. It needs to pass the grading for doTERRA. And then we'll purchase it from you and we get rid of the middleman and we pay you directly. So, the heart of doTERRA is where to source it in the best place and to really look after those farmers where they build hospitals and schools. Now, Darren is so sneaky. He will go into Sage, which is a store here that sells essential oils. It's in our malls. And he'll ask, how do you use the oils? Poor young girl who's sitting there serving. Because he'll say, I'm looking for a lemon oil to put in my water. And they'll go, oh, no, you can't use the lemon oil in water. And he'll go, why? It says, oh, it's not safe. It's not a grade that you can take internally. You can only put it in your diffuser. Or you can put it on your skin topically. So they sell something called a peppermint stick. I have a lot of people who've gone to Sage and buy the peppermint stick. But then he says, but if I put your oil in my diffuser and I'm breathing it in, is it not going into my cells internally? And if I'm putting it on my skin, is it not being absorbed into all of my cells? And that's when they don't know what to say to him, because that's the truth. There have been customers who say to me, hey, I'll get doTERRA oils, but the oils that I have that I've bought from Walmart, spend $20 to get a lemon, peppermint, and lavender, I'll use those in my diffuser. I can't tell them what to do, but if they ask me, I'm going to say, you just throw those away. You do not gift them to anybody. Just throw them away. You made an unwise choice because you did not know. They are synthetically produced in laboratories. There is likely nothing real about them. You've got to put, on the side of the bottle for Sage, it says 15 drops in the diffuser. We know when we use doTERRA oils, it's 1 or 2 drops. Is that true, Annie?
I put 5. I put 5 drops in a mini Laluza diffuser. Is that too much?
That is too much for doTERRA.
Okay. I learned something then.
The potency is so strong with doTERRA, 1 to 2 drops. When I put lemon oil or Metapower oil in my water, I'm trying to just get 1 or 2 drops. Sometimes, if I use a big water bottle, it will have more. But the difference in the quality is huge, okay? And then you could have like sage oils or Walmart oils. You're wondering why you've got like irritations on your skin. There's no grading of those oils. That's why doTERRA came out with the grading in the first place, okay? So those are considered food grade. I don't know why they put the word food on because you can't take them internally. But doTERRA is CPTG, certified pure tested grade. Okay. So where is tallow from? So the fat of a cow is called suet or tallow.
Mhm.
And this big chunk that I showed you in the beginning is likely from around the kidneys. The kidneys, the loin, all of that big. That's why we have the big chunk. That is where most, because it's the most fat, would come from to actually create a tallow product. All right. So it's different to a pig. What is the fat of a pig called?
Lord.
Okay, lard. I live in a farming community, Karen. Like, Karen, it's like they all know. So the next question I have from people at a workshop is, well, can I use pig fat then? Or like Bryson, my son, who hunts. So he goes, Mom, hey, come September, October, when hunting season happens, we're gonna make tallow from the deer fat. So I went, well, yes, we can, but it's very gamey smell. Now I've not made it yet.
Question for you. Can you make tallow with chicken fat? I made a soup yesterday, and I always put it in the first, scoop out the fat the next day.
I have no idea.
Okay.
You're gonna have to go and yeah, I mean you're gonna have to I mean
Experiment. Yeah.
that's a lot of chicken fat you'll need is what I'm thinking. There's going to be easier ways. If you find out that it is any, tell me. But I mean, we need
Okay.
a lot of fat to actually make any products from or to be, to save you the time once you've rendered it and cleaned it. Because if I render this, clean it, render it, or cut it up into small pieces and then render it, you'll find out what that means and how to do it in a moment. There's still going to be, I've got to remove some of the um, impurities, and then you're left with a lot less in order
Okay.
to actually make. But the pig fat is called lard, and you can definitely use it. It's got a milder scent. It's softer and creamier, and it absorbs well into your skin. So you could use it for frying, render it the same way. Remember, I'm going to tell you what that is. Yeah, because I have a friend who has she's got pigs. She raises pigs. So now she's got all this fat in her freezer that she wants to use. And then I will tell you about the deer fat. I think, it's just venison has just got a strong, strong taste to it. So what I've been able to find out, because I've not made it from it yet, but it's stronger gamey smell, and the best quality comes from kidney fat. It's softer and can go rancid faster than beef tallow. Um,
And there's not much fat on deer. When we're making sausage, we add pig fat to the deer
yeah, so yeah,
because the deer is very lean.
even around the kidneys, how much is around the kidneys, or have you not really been aware?
Very, very little.
Okay, so it's
Because
going to
yeah,
take a lot
yeah,
to
I've been through
make.
all the process, but yeah, and it is, yeah, it's not worth the effort.
Yeah, so beef tallow remains the most popular choice for skincare because it's got a mild scent when it's properly rendered. It's also very stable and lasts a long time. Like, people ask me how long is this going to last? It's going to last, I mean, it's next to my bed. Um, so really it's not going to last long as in a practical because it's right next to my bed and at nighttime I'm like putting my hand and it's all over me because I can't sleep on my face. However, just know that there are essential oils in there, and essential oils can, get the vibrations going. And you might be wondering why you're not sleeping because you have so much on you. But where do I get mine? I shop local, so it's very easy for us to find farmers here that have tallow for sale. Now, you need to try your best at getting, um, what is the word called right now?
Pure.
No, what the word is not
No.
pure. You need to be, I can't believe
Free
I'm having.
range?
Not free range. What's the other word? Oh, it's going to come to me now. It needs to be
Grain fed.
cows, grain,
Grain
Grain
fed.
fed.
grain
Yeah.
fed. Okay. Now there is grain fed. Most in our area, I mean, the cows are waking me up in the morning. They're all around. So our cows are typically grain fed here. They're not, inside just being fed corn. The only thing that happens though is when they get taken to the lots where they get auctioned, they do get fattened up. So they are not grain finished. If you really want the best tallow, you're looking for grain fed and grain finished, but you're going to pay a huge amount of money for that fat. And it's not very common. So even the farmers around here who are trying to not do antibiotics, now they say it's really difficult not to raise, to raise the cows with no antibiotics. But so this fat that I have here that we've been making tallow from, I have not. I've asked grain fed. I know they're grain fed because the farmers they're out in the fields eating the grass, or giving them grain grass to eat. Silage is what it's called. But most of them are going to be not grain finished, all right? And then they say it changes the composition of the fat, or the fat just doesn't have the same qualities as if it had been grain finished. So that is a choice you have to make, and you have to look. Is that really, really important to you? I know that most of the process is grain fed, and then they're wanting to fatten the cows up. Or you find a farmer, or you have your own cow or cows where you know that you're just giving them. It's just like free range. The word is, but it's grain fed. Okay. So here we've got Angus beef, and Farmer's Table are two of my farmers that are just around the corner from me, and that's where I get my tallow from them. So you need to break it down. We're going to look at the rendering now. This has to be cut down. Once it's cleaned, connective tissues removed, washed, blood taken out, you need to cut it down. Okay, so you'll just see you got to, trim and cut, rinse it, soak it. Nah, ladies, this process I do not do anymore. I needed to do it because I wanted to be able to teach and have experience to be able to say to someone, I've done it from scratch. So I've cut this up and into small pieces, because online I learned that, if you've got a Kenwood mixer, or you've got a sausage maker, so Sue will likely have a sausage maker. I just have an attachment to one of my machines. They suggest that you take you see the fat here, that you actually push it down the sausage maker and grind it yourself, and get this. It does not work. I tried it. It gets stuck in the chute. Okay. So the easiest is go to the butcher and say, buy it like this. It's already been cleaned. It's already been ground. So much easier. So definitely will not put it in the sausage maker. It got too stuck because I make my own boerewors, okay, my own South African sausage. But if I do get, if a friend killed a cow or a cow died and butchered the cow, and I have the fat there, I will use that fat. But you want to cut it down or get it ground. You might take it to the butcher and say, what would you charge me to have it ground? Okay. But you need it to be ground because we are going to be putting it into a slow cooker to render it. When I'm teaching an in-person class, I have my slow cooker here, and I have tallow that is ground that has been it's called a Dutch oven some places. That's in the slow cooker, and you see a golden liquid. So the process of rendering can take anywhere between 5 hours to 8 hours on one day. Then you have to render it a second time on day 2. Maybe on the 3rd day, you've got to render it again. On the 4th day, you've got to render it again. I'll tell you why you would render it a lot or why you wouldn't. But when I teach my class here in the studio, I don't have 4 days to teach a class with these people. I just need to show them a bit of the process. So that tallow gets put in your slow cooker with water and with salt. And the water and the salt are going to help extract the impurities. You're going to put the slow cooker lid on. You're going to put the slow cooker on low. Doesn't need to be high. And at least put it for 8 hours. The lid could actually be put off, turned to the side. Like, what you're doing is melting this. It's going to be melting. It's going to become this beautiful golden liquid. The water and the salt are going to help, the salt particularly, are going to help extract some of the impurities. After about 8 hours, it looks like there's bacon bits floating in that golden liquid. Now, in a workshop, I actually have a container, and I could have got that to show you. I have a container that looks like bacon bits. I think you can all imagine that. That is the impurities that have now collected. That could be coagulated blood. I mean, who knows what they are, but they need to be taken off. So after 8 hours, some evaporation has happened. The salt has helped remove some of those impurities. They are floating around, and you need to now put the slow cooker off and strain it. So the first strainer I use on the first rendering is this big, sieve. That we're meant to sieve our flour for all our recipes, but I've never done it except when I studied home economics 35 years ago. But that strainer is so much easier. You just pour the golden liquid through it. Those bacon bits, give them to your dog, throw them away. You're left with this golden liquid that you're then going to put into the fridge to go hard overnight. Now, when I put it in the fridge, I use a plastic bowl because I want a bowl that I can push to turn out the tallow. If it's a metal bowl, so, this recipe, I should actually get this image changed and put an X here. You can use a metal bowl, but do you see the difference between a metal bowl that can't be moved? Whereas a plastic bowl, I can move it a little bit because you're going to flip it. The water is going to strain off. You need to throw that water away. And then you're left with beautiful tallow in your hand. But it's going to have some impurities on it. So next time I do this online class, I'm going to put a photo in. I need to take a photo of that so that you can all actually imagine. But here's the tallow. It's going to have impurities that have settled on the bottom. You need to scrape those off and throw them away. Then you're going to smell the tallow. If it still smells really beefy, you want to render it a second time. Most times I'm rendering 2 or 3 times. So what does rendering mean? So day 2, I take that tallow. It looks like solid butter, but creamier yellow color. Okay, so it looks like this, but this doesn't look hard. But you're going to put that tallow back into your slow cooker with water and with salt. And you're going to put it on slow. The lid can be half off and leave the room. Let it just go for the whole day. My daughter Taylor's living at home with me at the moment, and Taylor hates the smell of the rendering process. She goes, "Oh, it's so gross, Mom." So it is a very strong, beefy smell. I'm so used to it, or I just don't notice the smell. Maybe my nose. But if you find it very smelly, and you can, just put the slow cooker outside and let it do the process outside. Put it on the deck, okay? The rendering the second day and the third day and maybe the fourth day doesn't have to be 8 hours. It's going to melt really quickly, but you still want the salt and you still want the water. And you're just going to let it simmer away all day. The evaporation will happen. You're then going to strain it a second time. Now, the next time, go and put a nut or cheesecloth in here because there's no longer bacon bits. There's no bacon bits floating in it. But there is other impurities that will only be caught by a cheesecloth. Then you're going to put it back in the plastic bowl, put it in the fridge, and let it set overnight. In the morning, turn it out. The water's going to run off. And you're going to look again. Are there any impurities that have come that you need to take off? Okay. And then do the smell test. The first batch that I made for a workshop, my first workshop, I only rendered it twice. Because maybe my nose is just not so sensitive, but I had people go like, "Oh, we can smell the beef." And then your product smells. Now, we've added essential oils. So I don't smell. Actually, I don't know which batch this is. I don't smell any beef in here. And that's where we want to be at. So that's why you're going to render a third time if you don't like the smell. To go through the process again and render it a fourth time. Now I know that some of you go like, oh my goodness, this is a huge process. I know this takes too long. I'm just going to buy my tallow. But really, if you think about it, all you're doing is putting in the slow cooker, quickly straining it in the fridge, taking it out in the morning, getting rid of the water, putting it back in the slow cooker, and then you leave. Okay, and the next day, take it out. It's just, that is actually quite easy. But then you're going to be left with a beautiful product. Okay, now I've gone through that slide. This is an obsolete slide, really. But here's the process, and maybe I should have been showing you this as I was talking. Your lard is just going to break down, and there is the rendering when you've got these pieces that look like bacon bits. They're not bacon bits, but you want to strain them, and you're left with this beautiful golden liquid that when it's cooled down, it becomes solid. It becomes just like when you've made a stew. And the next morning, once you take it out of the fridge, you see all that solid fat on the top, and we throw it away. But no, keep that. But remember, it's not rendered. Okay. And if you want to get rid of impurities, particularly for your skin, you want to make sure that you're using a clean product. Now, could you just take the fat off and put in the fridge to fry? Absolutely, you can. But it's when you want to make products that don't have a smell. We want to make sure that all the impurities are removed. Okay. Salt is like 1 to 2 teaspoons per pound, and water, you just make sure that the fat is covered. It really doesn't matter. Like I just take salt, big tablespoon of salt, 1 or 2 cups of water, just to cover the fat. And that whole process of putting it in the slow cooker with the salts and the water and let it cook for 8 or melt for 8 hours and then straining is called the rendering process. And I would definitely render it a second time. Then it's up to you if you want to render it a third or a fourth time. Now that could be the reason why big companies charge a lot for their tallow, because they've got to go through that whole process the whole time. Okay. I don't think it's a huge process. I find it actually quite easy. You just need a slow cooker. Is there any questions about what I've just said? Yes, Annie.
So the whole rendering, if you buy beef suet, you don't need to go through the whole rendering. Is that correct?
This has not been rendered. None of these have been rendered. This is just the fat. This
Okay,
is just
so when you buy suet, they're just mini chunks of fat. Is that correct?
correct. That's not been
Okay.
rendered. That
Okay.
is, sure, you could fry in it. You could make sausage with it. Yeah, because like Sue, we add extra fats. Like usually it's pig fat to our sausage, to make it just a really more moist sausage is my reasoning. But no, that hasn't been rendered. That suet has not been cleaned. But you could ask the butcher that you buy from, he might actually render and have tallow there for you that has been rendered and clean. Mine definitely don't. They just sell you the it's called tallow, the suet or the tallow. Here it is in a packet. This is 600 grams and it's $6.75. So it's $5 a pound. This is $2 a pound. But it hasn't been cleaned. There's a lot I'm going to throw away. It's just a bigger process. So no, it hasn't been rendered. When we buy tallow online, you can go to Amazon and just order tallow. But it's not going to tell you how many times it's been rendered. It's not even going to tell you if it's been rendered. So although, I mean, really, I suppose it differs from company to company. You want to make sure that the word rendering, if you're going to make beauty products from that tallow, you've got to do the rendering or you buy it rendered already. When you hear the word rendered, you know that somebody has gone and put it in the slow cooker and has cleaned it and has, strained it and has gone a second time and a third time. Farmers markets, you can buy tallow. Ask them, how did they make it? Ask them how many times they rendered it. Just have an interesting conversation with them to hear their process. Okay. And then if they've got essential oils in their tallow that you're purchasing, ask them where they bought their essential oils from. I have not done that, but I would if I found someone selling tallow products now, because I want to know, like, hey, where did you get your oils from? If they tell me they bought it off Amazon, I'm not buying that product. I'm not, would I tell them that that's not safe for you to use? I don't know. Just depends on the day. You don't want to tell them your product is so bad. No. But really, it's the quality of oils. They might not know that there is, I might just kindly say, have you ever heard of doTERRA? They're grading as certified pure, and maybe show them how I take frankincense internally. I don't know, but there is going to be a difference in quality. Okay, there we again is the straining for the second time. Use a muslin cloth. It can be dangerous, this process, because you're working with an extremely hot liquid. So be careful. Okay, that's why in one of my images it said use gloves. I don't use gloves, but the straining is going to remove small pieces of meat, leaving you with a smooth, pure, nourishing tallow for your skin. So then how long do these products last? So if you just have it in a cool place, like I keep mine in my bathroom or next to the side of my bed, it's gonna last up to 12 months. If you want it to last longer, then put it in the fridge. It can last 18 to 24 months in the fridge. Really? Everyone's getting tallow for Christmas this year. I've got so many batches of tallow, and he's going, yeah. Because when I do a class, I'll just give you a practical idea for those who might want to actually teach the class. When I do a class, I have stations set up with a hand beater. I've bought 4 hand beaters. I have hand beaters set up. I have the basins. I have the recipes that have been printed beautifully and laminated. So there are 4 different stations for 4 people, but the recipe makes between 5 and 6 4-ounce jars of tallow. So there is always leftover tallow that we then fill up the jars, and that's why I have extra. And yeah, they just make a really great gift. Because all of you that part of why I do a recipe that includes essential oils is because I'm hoping to be able to support a new customer along the journey. It's not just teach them beef tallow, but then have the opportunity of teaching them about essential oils and why they need them for their health. I felt bad charging $35 initially for a tallow class. But they're getting a really good product, and they're getting really good education, I believe. Okay. And an opportunity to make their tallow and take it home. The next part of the class, and I'm going to go through this as if I was teaching an essential oil class, is how do you get the oils into your hands, and what oils do you want to be purchasing today? If anyone enrolls with doTERRA, like they get a wholesale account with doTERRA at a tallow class, I refund their $35. And I mean, I think everyone's blessed by that. Okay. The reason I refund it, because they are going to be spending at least $200 to get a doTERRA wholesale account, because frankincense, geranium, blue tansy are not cheap oils. There's tea tree and lavender. So the next part of my PowerPoint is all on what are the essential oils that we use and why. And so these are the essential oils that can be used in tallow. Now, I have chosen not to put all of them in there, because then I'd have had to charge $50 for a class. I'm not putting any citrus oils in because they are photosensitive. So if you're using the tallow on your face, your lemon, any citrus oils burn really easily. So, but you could put the wild orange in. You could put peppermints in. You could put eucalyptus. The ones I've chosen are the last 5 here. Now, this bottle should be a big bottle. This is when you use ChatGPT, you've got to actually note that that does make mistakes, and now I've noticed those. But we're putting frankincense in, which is for our skin. It's the king of oils. We're putting lavender in, which is like a Swiss Army knife. It's the oil that is for cuts and bruises, as well as the tea tree oil. We're putting in geranium. It's really good for women's health. Also a skin oil. Blue tansy should be a small bottle. Comes from the little yellow flower, and it's only a 5 ml bottle, but it's $116 here in Canada. So the tea tree, we all need tea tree for different things. Now, the next few slides are all to do with why would we put frankincense in. Now, in a class, I actually have these resin. I've got resin from the frankincense tree, and I just show people what the frankincense looks like. We talk about frankincense, how it's used on the roof of our mouth or sublingually under our tongue to support healthy cells, to support our brain cells. I share how I put frankincense. I've got had an age spot that was growing here. It was like I had one option, 2 options actually. One option, go and have it burnt off by a skin specialist. They can do that because I've had a lot of moles removed off my face that way. That's $200 for that. Or I can just put frankincense on it every morning and every night, and it will go. And that's what I've been doing. Okay. And I can feel it going. But frankincense is for pain and inflammation, but really calming. I put frankincense on my spine, and it just calms the nervous system. I believe everybody needs to be using frankincense daily. Okay. But adding it to the tallow is great. And then the blue tansy, it's show them the bottle how it's blue in color, because when they distill it and they process it, there's a process called chamazoline, or chamazoline creates the blue color in it. And then we use the blue tansy like the Yara on our skin. It's a little yellow flower, but it promotes healthy, clear skin and a calming, balanced feeling. And it gives the color that we have. I showed you it becomes like the blue hue changes it to green, a slight green. Tea tree oil is an antiseptic. It's like everything, antiviral, bacterial. When you go and have a pedicure done, take tea tree with you and put it in the water. It's great for fungus. It's used when we've got colds and flus. So this oil is not just for putting in tallow. Like all of them are. They all have more benefits than just in the tallow. And then the geranium. Now, I don't know if any of you do this, but if you take your doTERRA deodorant and you put 1 or 2 drops of geranium on it before you put it on your skin, it supports us and our hormones. It is a beautiful fragrance, but it is really beneficial for women, really good for our skin. And yeah, so we've gone and put how many drops? I'll give you the recipe at the end. In total, we're putting 80 drops of oil into the blue tansy, into the tallow recipe. So 15 drops of blue tansy, 15 of frankincense, 15 tea tree, 25 lavender, and 10 geranium. Just makes it smell so good. Then the lavender. Can any of you tell me how you use lavender? Sue, or Carol, I can see both of you stretching. Sue, how do you use lavender?
I use it at night instead of taking the muscle relaxants, 5 drops in a gel cap. And make sure you do it right before going to bed, because in 5 minutes you're feeling it going like, whoa, baby. Where's
Okay.
my pillow? I
Okay.
use it on my skin. I use it to calm my nervous system. I use it to calm my animals.
Yes. During a storm, when there's lightning, thunder, when there's storms outside, go put some lavender on the bottom of, a scared pet. You need lavender in the kitchen because if you burn yourself, you need to put on a burn. Here in my studio, I've got rows of lavender on one of the shelves here because the kids know if they burn themselves on an iron, there's lavender or Correctex. They also, in my last sewing camp, the kids were all complaining about all the itchy bites because the mosquitoes have been crazy. So all the itchy bites, and they know, go and grab lavender, put it on the itchy bite. It's calming for your skin. Braden, who's my older son, he'll just pick up lavender under his tongue when his brain is like he just needs to calm down. So he takes it sublingually. Very powerful oil and comes from, lavender flowers from France. Um, and then I've put together a kit. So if any of you do not have a wholesale account with doTERRA, and today you want to get started, and at the beginning of a workshop, I always just say there is no obligation. You don't need to be hiding from Daphne if you see you in the in the store. If you want to get started with doTERRA, I am here to help you get wholesale accounts, to get those oils, to teach you how to use those oils, and you get me to support you on this journey. Okay. A wholesale account is free in Canada. We don't pay anything. There's free shipping with 100 points. In Canada, we actually get a free diffuser at a 150 point order. And it ships from the Calgary warehouse, which is just right here and it takes 2 to 3 days and it's with you. So now I know that every country is different as far as, shipping, and South Africa, you actually have to pay for a membership. But I think if you're getting a kit, I don't remember those things. But I put together a kit which is on this QR code. And the oils that I put in there are the frankincense, the lavender, the tea tree, and the geranium. I have not put in the blue tansy. You can put the blue tansy in if you want, but it's $116 for a 5 ml bottle. It's an amazing oil. But I've put together a kit that comes to 150 points so that you get a free diffuser. Because here in Canada, with a 150 point order, you get a free diffuser. Your shipping is free. And on this slide, I said if you get a wholesale account today, you actually get a modern essential book for free. So I need to change that slide because sometimes I've given back their $35. And then another time I went, I'm going to give you a modern essential book. And we've actually during the workshop would have used the modern essential book because we're going to, as we're talking and as I'm interacting, I go, let's pick up the book and turn to blue tansy. And let's look where that plant comes from and what its benefits are. So I get everybody using the book during the workshop. And then, if you haven't started with doTERRA, it's so easy. Just scan the QR code and the QR code is going to open to that cart of those 4 oils that I've put in there. Do you need to purchase all 4? You do not. You can just purchase one if you want. But if you put all 4 in, it's a kit that will get you the free diffuser. It'll get you free shipping and also get either a modern essential book from me or a refund. Then it's DIY time. However, just before the DIY, I always do giveaways. So there's always giveaways happening. So I do a giveaway. And then the DIY. So I have not got a slide for the recipe. How will I do this? Because I don't
Email it to us.
I can email it to you, yes. All of those that registered for this, I'll just email it to you. But we then break up. I don't break people up into groups. I just say there's a station over there and a station over there. And you just go and make the tallow. Let me show you how easy it is to make the tallow. At the beginning of the class, when they've all come and sat down and are waiting for me, my setup actually is a 2-plate stove. I have the 2-plate stove right there in front of them. It's just a portable stove top, and I've got 2 pots on there with water, as well as created a double boiler. And at the start of the class, once I've made my joke that I'm South African and I'm not a doctor, and we get everything going, I then have 2 volunteers come up and they measure the ingredients for the first part and get it into the bowl to melt because it's got to go in a fridge for at least an hour to set. I cannot be that, that process cannot be done at the end of class because then we're just going to waste an hour. So we do the first part, which is melt in a double boiler over gentle heat, the tallow, the rendered tallow that I've made. I've rendered it 2 or 3 or 4 times. It's now chunks of beautiful, creamy, solid tallow that doesn't smell bad. So they're going to take the tallow, they're going to take the cacao butter, and they're going to melt it. Those are the 2 people in the beginning. They melt. And then we go and put that in the fridge. But I have 4 groups. Remember I said to you I break people up in 4 groups. I've already melted 2 lots before the start of the class. I've melted the cacao butter and the cocoa butter. Once it's melted, you add the jojoba oil. Now, the recipe says that that whole thing should cool down first before you add the jojoba oil. I don't have time in my workshop to let it cool down. So we add the jojoba oil straight away. The reason why you might want to just, the reason you want it to cool down first is because you could be, the heat could be destroying some of the benefits of the jojoba oil, like the vitamins that are in there. Now, so you've got melted tallow with melted cacao butter. You've added the jojoba oil in a metal container. You take it off the pot and you go and put it in the fridge. If you've got time, it doesn't need to be in the fridge. It could just it'll get hard on a kitchen counter if you've got a few hours. Only once it mustn't be solid, but to the touch, it's solid. When it's at that state, then we whip it. Okay? So that's the first part. Then the second part is the whipping. So you take the hand beater. You can use like a Kenwood beater, not a handheld one. I find the handheld ones work great. Take a handheld, you put it into that, and you just start whipping it for about 10 minutes. It turns into what it looks like whipped cream. You want to put your finger in there and you want to eat it. It looks like whipped cream. You add your tapioca. No, not tapioca. What did we use?
Arrowroot.
The arrowroot. It's the same thing. You add the arrowroot and you add your essential oils. You just need to then blend it in, and you are left with this amazing whipped tallow, white, whipped feeling to it. It's slightly not white anymore because you've added the blue tansy, okay? Now, in a class, I tell them to follow the recipe. But if they want to go home and make their own and not put the blue tansy in because they never purchased it, it's still going to be a beautiful tallow. If they don't put the essential oils in, it's still going to have the benefits of the rendered tallow, but it's whipped and it's just light and airy to use on their face. But the frankincense, the geranium, the lavender, the tea tree are all good options to put in there. Then you add your essential oils, you whip for another minute to combine, and then you put them in your jars. I always put my labels, I tell them to put their label on first because it can get a little greasy. And then we're lathering ourselves all over. And then the class finishes, but I just sit back and watch and help people with their orders because to me, it's been amazing. That whole class, they've learned how to make tallow, but they now want doTERRA as well. But there's no obligation. Hopefully they feel that way, and then they process the order very easily just by scanning the QR code. Here in Canada, if they set up a reward order immediately, doTERRA give them points on their first order. I'm not sure if that applies to South Africa. So most people go into a reward order straight away with me. I say, guys, you need to trust me. I know you don't know me. Most of you don't know me. They only know me from a social media presence because of my sewing school. I said, please trust me. Just put one item in your cart. I can help you with that because you're going to get points on your first order. And when I do a wellness consult with you, if you don't want a subscription or You know, like we all hate these subscription orders that we can never cancel. I don't know if any of you. I think I'm on a subscription. Last month I tried to get out of Crave, which is a subscription from Amazon for a TV channel. Like I didn't know how to get out of it. It was, who do I phone? Who do I email? So it's frustrating, but with doTERRA it's really easy to cancel. And then the class ends, and then some people stay in clean and help me. And they go home with their beautiful tallow, and I have friends telling me they love this tallow. There we are, ladies.
There was
Any
a question asked, Daphne. There
Let's
was
me
a
look.
question asked. There was a question asked at the beginning about chicken, using the chicken fat.
Yes.
The differences in melting point. The melting point of chicken fat is 26 to 33 degrees Celsius. Beef is 41 to 48. And pork is 38 to 47. So it's the differences in the melting points, which
Of
is
the
why
fats.
the chicken fat is so much more liquid.
Yep. Annie says my doctor is South African. Carol, that's what I'm getting on Friday, the raw stuff. Okay, thank you, Megumi. She's gone. Anyway, hopefully that was beneficial. Thanks for hanging out with me on a Wednesday.
Thank you. Thank
Bless you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Daphne. This was
Ah.
Thank
amazing.
you, Daphne.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you.
Hey, was it beneficial? Did you learn?
Yes, definitely. Yes. I would like to. I don't think I'm going to go into the rendering as much, but I would like to, do some workshops with people in making their own products using tallow as a
Yes.
base. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And
Yeah.
then, Cara, now you can't say you don't know anything. Now you know lots.
Now I know.
Sue, was it beneficial, Sue?
It was fantastic. And just a hint, if people want to start from
Yeah.
scratch, put your lard into the deep freeze before you grind it and use the larger. On your sausage maker, you have 2 different sizes or 3 different sizes. Use the large one.
Okay.
And then it's,
I will.
and if it's slightly frozen, then it doesn't turn into the mush that jams
I
up the
spoke
whole.
about, yes,
Mm.
that's a good tip for sure. That's a good tip. All right. Bless you
Mm.
all. Bye.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Daphne.
You're
Bless you
welcome.
too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.